Thank you, and thanks for that introduction, I guess. Before I start, I just want to thank the Lung Association, Michelle, Robert, and Lacey for hosting such a great workshop over the last couple of mornings for us. And of course, a huge thank you to the presenters who shared their great work over the past couple mornings too. So I'm going to round out the presentations with this little overview of our testing project in Newfoundland and Labrador, where we had all the schools tested for radon. All right. So just a quick refresher on radon. For those of you who don't know, radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas. It comes from the breakdown of uranium in the soil. And so when the radon comes out of the soil into the air outside, it's not so much a problem. The concentration is quite low. The danger is when it enters a home or a building like a school or an office or a library or something, the radon concentrations can then accumulate to high levels, and breathing high levels of radon gas over a long period of time increases your risk of developing lung cancer. So that's why Health Canada is concerned about radon gas in homes, but also in other buildings like schools and things. There are many different factors that influence the amount of radon that is in a home or building. So because of all those different factors, we say that every home and building is unique. And so the only way that you can find out how much radon is in your home is to actually do the test. And this image is a copy of our brochure that was actually sent out last winter and then again in November to about, oh man, I think now about 3 million homes across the country. And so Health Canada's National Radon Program, our job is basically to encourage testing for radon in homes, but also in other places too, and also to encourage people to take action to reduce those levels if they're too high. And of course, lately, over the last year, where we've been at home a lot, working at home, our home offices may be in basements and so on. It is it's really important now more than ever to have your home tested for radon. So as I mentioned, Health Canada's National Radon Program, our job is to basically figure out this whole radon issue and to encourage testing and so on. But when we were established in 2007, 2008, we needed to find out exactly, okay, what is the radon picture in Canada? Where are we finding homes or buildings with high radon levels? So the first thing that we decided to do is find out. So we sent detectors across the country to all provinces and territories, and we measured radon in 14,000 homes across the country, just to see, again, where are we finding these high levels of radon. So when we published that report, we saw that about 7% of homes in Canada are testing above the guideline, and the guideline level in Canada is 200 becquerels per cubic meter. When we break down those results by province and territory, you see a lot of regional differences. So for example, in British Columbia, you're seeing about 4% of homes with high radon levels. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, a lot higher. If we look at Atlantic Canada, you see that New Brunswick has about 21% of homes with high levels of radon, and Nova Scotia about 11, PEI about 4, and Newfoundland about 5% of homes. We can then further break down these results by health region. So in Newfoundland, for example, there's 4 health regions: Labrador, West, Central, and East. And so you can see that even within the provinces, by health region, there are differences in concentration. So again, look at the western part of Newfoundland near Corner Brook and stuff in the pink area here. About 10% of homes are testing above the guideline. So the key message here, based on this data, is to just realize that radon is everywhere. There are homes and buildings with high radon in every province, in every health region, in every community. There are no areas in Canada where there's no radon. there is no such thing as concentration 0 for radon. So the only way to know how much radon you have is to do the test. In terms of testing in schools, so CAREX Canada is an organization based in British Columbia, and they put together this map back in 2017. So they contacted all the different provinces and school boards and things and asked, hey, have you had your schools tested for radon? If so, how many of those schools, etc. So you can see again, there's quite a difference across the country. The good news is, though, in Atlantic, as of 2017 here, all the Atlantic provinces, so New Brunswick, PEI, and Nova Scotia, have had all of their schools tested. So that's awesome. We are definitely leaders in this regard, and that's fantastic. And then, of course, there's 0% in Newfoundland at this time, but there was something in around 2017 that actually triggered Newfoundland to have their schools tested for radon. And that trigger is, or was, the St. Lawrence fluorspar mine. So St. Lawrence, Newfoundland has had a fluorspar mine since the 1930s, and I really have to remember to say 1930s and not just 30s, because we're in a whole new millennium now, I guess. Anyways, so the mine has been around for a long, long time. There have been traditionally high rates of lung cancer in the community there, high rates or high levels of radon in the community there as well. The mine has been open, it's closed, it's opened again. And in around 2016, 2017, our office at Health Canada here in Halifax, our environmental health office, received an environmental assessment review to look over for this mine. And so that's the real trigger where we were concerned about the radon levels that could come from reopening and restarting this mine in the community of St. Lawrence. So we reached out to the town of St. Lawrence and to the province of Newfoundland, Labrador to talk about this. And so St. Lawrence, the community, was then tested for radon. So Lance, I think he's on the call. He and another former colleague of ours actually went to St. Lawrence, or spearheaded this part of the project, where they had many of the town buildings tested for radon. So the curling rink, the library, all the municipal offices, that kind of thing, as well as the school. So St. Lawrence Academy then in 2017 became the first school in Newfoundland to be tested for radon. So 29 detectors were deployed in the beginning of 2017. And when they came back, we were able to find the average radon concentration for the school to be 400 becquerels per cubic meter. So that is much higher than the guideline of 200. And so it was because of this that then the province and the Newfoundland English School Board decided, okay, well, let's test all the rest of the schools in Newfoundland and Labrador. So that's what we did. So in 2017, 2018, Lance at the time worked with the English school district to, first of all, educate their facilities people and the school board about radon. We gave them a training session, how to and where to deploy the detectors within the schools, how to collect them, when to collect them, how to record the data properly, where to send them for analysis. Because as many of you hopefully know, when you do a long-term radon test using these little alpha track detectors, you do have to send them off to a lab for your results. So we did the training. The detectors were deployed in 2018, 2019, and then another batch in 2019, 2020. And they were deployed in 288 schools and school buildings. So other buildings like the district conference center, the district offices, even some school bus depots, like in the office part of the school bus depots and things like that. About 4,300 radon detectors have been deployed since 2018. And you can imagine, based on the size of the school, there would be more or less detectors. So some schools would have maybe about 12 to 15 detectors in them, and then the larger schools would have about 50 or so. And the detectors were placed in classrooms, in the main office, in the guidance office, in music rooms, in the gym, in the cafeteria, even in offices for maintenance and janitorial staff. So again, according to our Health Canada guidance and advice, you want to test where people are occupying the space, where people are living and breathing for at least 4 hours a day. So that's where these detectors were placed. And these pictures here show Lance placing some detectors in some schools in November 2019 when we went to actually help out with this. And that weekend, I think we deployed detectors in like 21 schools or something. So that was a real fun trip. So, all right. So the detectors were out for, the recommended time, at least 91 days. They were sent to either, well, the first year they were sent to our lab in Ottawa, and the second year they were sent to AccuStar Labs for the results. They were the long-term alpha track detectors that are available at the Lung Association and that we recommend for sure. And when we got the results back, so the results are still coming in. You can imagine with the pandemic, there have been some delays at the labs getting the results processed and even sent out or sent back to the school board. So as of a couple of weeks ago, 20% of the schools in Newfoundland and Labrador have high radon levels. And I broke down the percentages or the results by the health regions, by the regions in the schools. So you can see in the Eastern region, 17% of schools are high, in Central 28%, and West 33%. In Labrador, there have been some issues there with us deploying, but also collecting and sending back the detectors. So they're actually still going. They're still being tested. So hopefully in a few months, we'll have some more data to show for the Labrador schools too. All right, so 59 schools in Newfoundland and Labrador are above the Health Canada guideline. And here's those 59 schools. So again, in orange are the schools in the Eastern region, in green, the Central region, and that rosy pink is the Western region. And so you can see that these 59 schools, their results are between about 200 and 400 for the most part. There are a few schools that are above 400, above 500, above 600. And then there are a few schools that are even above 700. And then of course, that one school there at 840 becquerels per cubic meter. So 59 schools. That's not a big deal. 59 out of 288, pretty good. So what are we going to do with these 59 schools? How are we going to reduce these levels? Well, for any home or building, for example, a school, our recommendation is the higher the radon concentrations, the sooner action needs to be taken. So if the results are coming back between 200 and 600 becquerels, Health Canada recommends that you take action to reduce those levels within 2 years. And anything above 600, you should do something about it as soon as possible within a year. The first call anyone should make, whether it's a homeowner or the school facilities people, is to the Canadian National Radon Proficiency Program. And these are the people who are certified to do radon mitigation. So the people who are certified to help homeowners, but also schools and other building owners reduce the radon levels in their home or building, and to find the best way to do that for that particular situation. So luckily, the Newfoundland English School District has a CNRPP radon mitigation professional on staff. And so that fellow has been leading them in determining how to reduce the levels in those 59 schools. Of course, the most efficient method to reduce radon levels in homes and in schools, and this is actually the method they're using in Newfoundland, is to install the active soil depressurization system. So this is basically a pipe that is drilled through the slab of the foundation of the building into the ground, and there's a fan that then sucks the radon through the pipe and vents it outside. So it prevents a lot of radon from even entering the building to begin with. So this is, like I said, this is the system that is very, very effective. can reduce radon concentrations by about 90%. And this is the method that they're using in Newfoundland, especially for those really, really high levels, like at the 800s and so on. In terms of mitigation, this is where they're at in Newfoundland for the schools. So you can see that the majority of the schools have been mitigated. And they are just, having those systems work, and then they'll be retesting at a later date. And then there's a few schools that are still being mitigated, or having the system installed, or figuring out the best way to reduce the levels. I should also note that there were some schools where only one detector was higher than the guideline. And so sometimes they look at the situation and see, okay, where was this detector? Was it somewhere that is maybe not as occupied? Can we mitigate this with just ventilation, or do we need to go to the full mitigation system? Anytime they found a detector that was higher than the guideline in like a classroom, or like the library or the main office or something, they immediately did installed the active soil depressurization system. The last piece of the school testing project is really the education and outreach part. When this all started back in 2018, 2019, and even into this year, we at Health Canada, even the school district, have been getting a lot of questions from the media and from parents and staff about radon testing. What's happening in the schools? Is it dangerous? Is it something to be worried about? What do we do? And so we actually have done quite a lot of outreach in Newfoundland to the parents and staff, just encouraging them to test their homes for radon, but also to remind them that it is very good that the school board is testing the schools. It's a health prevention issue, like making sure that it's safe for the students and the staff in those schools. And it is something that is easy to test for, and it's easy to fix, and they're testing and they're fixing it. So it's all good. And again, that message of yes, the students and parent and staff spend a lot of time at school, or they did before COVID, I guess, but people spend a lot of time at home too. So make sure you test your homes as well. The website down there is our national radon website, takeactiononradon.ca. And I invite you all to head there to learn more about radon, to order a radon test kit, to find the list of certified radon professionals in the country and broken down by province and region too, and to really take some time to think about testing your home for radon. Actually just go to the Lung Association's website, your local lung association, New Brunswick Lung, Nova Scotia Lung, PEI Lung. They all have the detectors for sale, so go ahead and do that right now. So I'm just going to end with, again, thanking the Lung Association for organizing this and for inviting me to share this information. And I want to thank the Newfoundland and Labrador English School District and Jim for all his great work and in doing this project and organizing all the detectors and the data and the mitigations and all that kind of stuff. And if anyone has any questions, I am